Conservative firebrand Matt Walsh has been around on the YouTube landscape for quite some time. Over the years, he's garnered a huge following stemming from some controversial opinions. He really hit the stratosphere amongst his particular echo chamber with the release of his documentary, What is a Woman?, which I reviewed on my channel some months ago. But some of his opinions are entirely asinine. Prime example, his complete disdain for anything anime. In many of his videos, he also rails against video games. He has some vitriolic opinions regarding the genre of entertainment. But what exactly is Matt Walsh getting wrong about video games? And can we convince him of the error of his ways? Join me, dear viewer, as I dive deep into the world of video games. In a few of his videos, Matt Walsh has railed against video games, even going so far as to berate very popular franchises like Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto. To be fair, one of Walsh's arguments is that kids shouldn't spend all day playing video games. That's fair enough, they shouldn't. But in many cases, there's really no other choice. I'll give you an example from my own life. When I was growing up in the 90s, I spent 5 years in what most would consider the ghetto. Urban, inner city New Jersey is no place for a kid to grow up in, but that was the circumstance my family found itself in at the time. Thankfully, we clawed our way out of it, but not without some battle scars. The town in question was Linden, New Jersey, by the way. By all accounts, a complete shithole filled with drugs and gangs. Although it wasn't a complete war zone like Newark, so I guess it had that going for it.
Not much crime in Sandusky. I mean, we're not a shithole like Akron.
My only respite from the bullies and gangs at school was staying home playing video games. I adored them because I felt safe in each of their worlds. There are countless kids stuck in similar situations. Their only safe haven is their living room and their Xbox. But what about the kids that do have a choice? A lot of attention is spent on kids not playing video games all day, such as Fortnite, Call of Duty, Splatoon, and many other Quake 3 Arena, Unreal Tournament, Counter-Strike clones. And this is where Matt Walsh can't see the forest for the trees. While sandbox shooters take all the attention in the mainstream media, Walsh completely overlooks the really good games, the ones with a story, a lesson, complex themes. Sandbox shooters are largely devoid of plot, but the vast majority of games out there showcase that video games are a valid storytelling medium. They can teach us more about what it means to be a human, what it means to struggle, the meaning of faith, among many, many other lessons. In many cases, they are much longer than books or movies, so the storytelling payoffs take much longer, but I would argue they are far more rewarding than most books, movies, or TV shows. One such game with delayed gratification is Earthbound. Earthbound debuted in 1995 on the Super Nintendo, and thanks to a weird, quirky advertising campaign, flew largely under the radar. Although in the years since its release, it has gained a massive cult following. Earthbound tells the story of Ness, a boy with special abilities that is the chosen one who will save the planet from an evil alien named Gygus. Throughout the game, Ness encounters many people, makes many friends, and generally does the right thing whenever faced with difficult situations. The culmination of all these experiences comes into play in the final battle of the game. Gygus is so powerful and the situation seems so hopeless that the only thing left to do is to just pray. So Ness's friend Paula prays with all her heart that anyone out there help them. We are then treated to scenes with all the people that Ness and his band of friends helped over the course of their adventure, who all begin to pray for the safety of Ness. These prayers end up dealing great damage to the evil Gygus, and in the most meta moment of the game, Paula turns to the player himself to pray for the group, which deals the final blow. The game truly shows the power of faith can have in life. And I think this is something that the very religious Matt Walsh can come to appreciate, regardless of his opinions of other games. But what other lessons have games taught us? Having had the hottest July ever recorded, climate change is front and center on everyone's mind. Surely, some people choose to ignore the problem or choose not to believe in its very existence. But numbers don't lie. It's hot AF on our planet now. One video game that tackled the topic of climate change over 25 years ago was one of the greatest games ever made, one of the greatest stories ever told. Final Fantasy VII tells the story of Cloud Strife, a mercenary who gets pulled into an eco-terrorist group. The game tackled topics such as corporate greed, planetary resource management, and what justifies terrorism to achieve a greater good. These are very complex topics that even the best of books failed to execute well. Final Fantasy VII was a masterclass in handling complex topics and storytelling. Other game series, such as Fallout and Metal Gear, show the effects of war and the military-industrial complex. Fallout takes place in the future, about 200 years after a nuclear war devastated most of the planet. It shows how grim life can truly be in the absence of government or social order. It's that kind of social commentary that I'm sure would appeal to Matt Walsh. Metal Gear Solid 4 tackled the concept of the war economy, how the military-industrial complex pervasively affects all aspects of the modern world. This is a topic that would make a guy like Jeremy Scahill salivate. While Scahill's two major books, Blackwater and Dirty Wars, did a fantastic job in portraying how pervasive the problem truly is, readers can get bogged down in the intense amount of detail Scahill explores. A game like Metal Gear Solid 4 keeps things simple and exposes the topic in a much more digestible way, all while telling a riveting and engaging story. I would honestly like to encourage Matt Walsh to look a little deeper into the area of video games, and not to focus on Counter-Strike clones like Fortnite and Call of Duty, but rather focus on the games with engaging storylines and character development. Walsh has to open his mind to the fact that books and film are not the only valid storytelling mediums. Sometimes a movie is the best way to tell a story, sometimes it's a book, but sometimes it's a video game, such as is the case with Final Fantasy VII. A story with that level of epic magnitude couldn't possibly be told in a film format, nor could it have the same level of impact in book form. So Matt, I encourage you to try some of the games I've mentioned. Perhaps one of them can convince you that video games are a valid storytelling medium. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you think Walsh is justified in his criticisms of the video game genre of storytelling? Please do let me know down below in the comments. And don't forget to hit the like button and smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.